Hey guys, tonight we are not just traveling back in time, we're peeling back the very fabric of Roman life to experience something truly unique, the serene, slightly steamy dawn hours of a grand Roman bathhouse. Forget your bustling afternoon spa trips. This is a pre-dawn pilgrimage, a quiet ritual known only to the earliest risers. We'll be gliding through the monumental arches, feeling the cool marble underfoot, and inhaling the subtle fragrances of olive oil and steam as the city outside still slumbers. You probably won't survive the early wake-up call without a Roman alarm clock, which was, well, let's just say it involved a very insistent rooster and a distinct lack of snooze buttons. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, if you're listening in, let me know your location and the current local time in the comments below. It's always fascinating to see where you all are drifting off from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself standing on a cool, cobbled street in the heart of Rome, not quite dawn, but the stars are already beginning to fade, giving way to a pre-light pallor in the eastern sky. A chill, damp air nips at your exposed skin, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp earth and something indefinable, yet distinctly Roman, perhaps the distant aroma of baking bread, or the unique tang of 1,000 years of human habitation. Your toga, or perhaps a simpler tunic for this early hour, feels surprisingly flimsy against the pre-dawn bite. There's a profound quiet, broken only by the occasional distant barking dog, the rustle of a stray cat disappearing into a shadowed alley, or the soft scuff of your own sandals on the ancient stones. Most of Rome is still deeply asleep, dreaming of gladiators or perhaps just their next meal. But you're on a mission. A quiet, utterly personal mission. You're headed to the baths. Not the raucous, social hub that these complexes become later in the day, but the hushed, almost spiritual sanctuary they are just before the city truly awakens. You pull your cloak tighter, your breath misting delicately in the cool air, and you pick up your pace, the anticipation of warmth already a gentle thrum in your chest. The streets are a labyrinth of shadows, narrow and twisting, and you navigate them mostly by instinct and the occasional flicker of a solitary oil lamp hanging above a sleeping taberna. You might even stumble over a sleeping stray dog or two, prompting a soft, sleepy growl before it settles back down. Honestly, navigating ancient Rome in the dark was an Olympic sport in itself, even without modern streetlights. It makes you appreciate those little LED nightlights a whole lot more. Up ahead, a faint, almost imperceptible glow begins to appear against the deeper dark of the horizon. It's not the sun. It's the baths. These colossal structures, which were essential to Roman daily life, were masterpieces of engineering and civic planning. The baths of Caracalla, for instance, could accommodate over 1,600 bathers simultaneously, a testament to the Romans' dedication to public hygiene and leisure. Imagine managing the towels for that crowd. The sheer scale of these complexes is mind-boggling even today, and seeing one emerge from the pre-dawn gloom is truly something. You walk towards the imposing silhouette, the building growing larger and more defined with each step. Its vastness, usually absorbed by the bright midday sun, now feels almost overwhelming, a silent, colossal presence. You start to hear it now, too, a faint, rhythmic sound, a sort of low thrum and hiss. Is it the wind? The distant river? No. It's the bathhouse itself, a living, breathing entity, already awake and warming, its hypocaust system, those ingenious underfloor heating pipes, quietly doing their work. There's a peculiar, almost metallic scent now, mingling with the damp earth, the smell of hot stone and steam. It's comforting, promising a respite from the chilly morning. As you draw closer, the grand entrance, usually teeming with people, is remarkably quiet. A solitary guard, perhaps, or an early attendant, might nod sleepily from their post. The giant bronze doors, usually flung wide, are ajar just enough to allow quiet passage, a silent invitation to those seeking early solace. You push gently, and they swing open with a low, resonant groan, ushering you into a new world. The air inside is instantly warmer, heavier, filled with the promise of true heat. You step over the threshold, your sandals making a soft ship-ship sound on the polished mosaic floor. The chill from outside immediately begins to recede. The vast entrance hall, usually a chaotic symphony of shouting merchants and boisterous bathers, is now a cavern of hushed echoes. You can just make out the dim glow of small oil lamps strategically placed, casting long, dancing shadows across the intricate frescoes on the walls, depicting mythological scenes or perhaps athletes in various states of undress. It's like stepping into a dream, or perhaps a very exclusive, very quiet, members-only club. One quirky detail that might surprise you is how early Romans navigated these vast complexes in the dim light. While some might have employed a young slave or link boy with a lantern, many simply knew the layout intimately, having visited countless times. It was a second home, so to speak, only without the nagging mother. You can just imagine someone sleepily wandering off course and ending up in the fullery instead of the Frigidarium. As you move deeper, the background hum of the bathhouse intensifies slightly. You can discern the subtle slosh of water from distant pools, the faint hiss of steam escaping unseen vents, and a very quiet, almost imperceptible scraping sound. It's the sound of the place waking up, preparing itself for the day, a soft, mechanical symphony for the discerning ear. It's a stark contrast to the cacophony that will engulf these halls later. Historians still argue whether the concept of purely co-ed bathing was as widespread and promiscuous as later Christian sources suggested, or if most bathhouses had strict separate hours or designated sections for men and women, especially in the more conservative eras. But at this hour, it hardly matters. The quiet suggests that whoever is here, they are here for the solemn ritual of personal preparation, not for a boisterous social gathering. You are part of an exclusive club, the early risers, the quiet seekers of warmth and cleanliness. And as you step further in, leaving the pre-dawn chill behind, a sense of calm begins to settle over you, a gentle anticipation of the cleansing to come. The day hasn't truly begun, but for you, a different kind of day has already unfolded. You drift past the grand entrance hall, the sound of your own footsteps on the mosaic softening as you approach an open doorway leading into a large, rectangular room. This, my friend, is the Apodyterium, the changing room. And no, there aren't little private cubicles here with cute changing curtains. This is ancient Rome. Personal space is more of a concept for philosophers than for bathers. The air in here is already warmer than the entrance, a pleasant, almost womb-like heat that promises good things to come. The room is vast, lined with high, arched niches carved into the walls, or sometimes wooden shelves, like an ancient, very chic set of pigeonholes. A few other figures, mere shadows in the dim light, are already here, quietly going about the business of disrobing. There's the soft rustle of linen as someone unties their tunic, the faint jingle of a small coin purse being placed into a niche, and the rhythmic sound of a sandal being untied and set aside. It's a symphony of preparation, played at a whisper. You find an empty niche, a perfectly serviceable cavity in the wall that will serve as your personal locker for the duration of your bath. There's no lock, no key, and certainly no biometric scanner. Your worldly possessions, your simple outer garment, perhaps a small bag containing your strigil and a tiny amphora of oil, are simply placed within. You might find yourself unconsciously patting your side for a phantom pocket, a modern reflex that is entirely useless here. Romans, being practical, often had a capsarius nearby, a bath attendant whose job it was to guard your clothes and valuables. Think of them as the original cloakroom attendants, only without the little ticket and the knowing glance. Though historians still argue whether these capsarii were truly trusted figures or if their presence was more about crowd control than security against their own kind, as theft was, let's be honest, a rather common complaint in Roman baths. So, Keeping an eye on your niche might be a good idea, even at this early hour. As you unfasten your tunic, letting it fall in soft folds to the floor, you'll notice the distinct lack of modesty, even in this subdued environment. Everyone here, regardless of status or physique, quickly sheds their outer garments. Nudity in the Roman bathhouse was simply a fact of life, an accepted part of the daily ritual. If you're feeling a bit self-conscious, just remember, you're amongst people who've seen it all. Literally. It's like a very, very old-fashioned, very quiet nudist beach, but with more marble and less sand. You'll just have to embrace your inner Roman exhibitionist. You place your clothes neatly into the niche, smoothing out any wrinkles. Your small, curved bronze strigil, the ancient equivalent of a scraper, and your tiny bottle of perfumed olive oil are already in your hand. These are your essential tools for the upcoming cleansing. You might also carry a sponge, though many would be available for communal use within the baths. The air, already thick with gentle humidity, has a faint, almost sweet scent now, the mingling aromas of various oils and the clean tang of damp stone. It's surprisingly pleasant, a far cry from the chlorine smell of modern pools. Around you, the other early risers are also preparing. Some stretch languidly, accustomed to this routine. Others simply stand, eyes closed, perhaps still half asleep, absorbing the rising warmth. There's no chatter, no loud exclamations. It's a respectful quiet, an understanding that everyone here is seeking a personal space, a sanctuary before the demands of the day crash in. You might hear the distant, almost musical drip of water somewhere deeper within the complex, or the soft, rhythmic puff of steam from the hypocaust. These are the sounds of the bathhouse truly waking up, a gentle symphony of preparation. This hushed communal disrobing, this preparation, was a mainstream historical fact and an essential part of the Roman bathing experience. It wasn't just about getting clean, it was about shedding the burdens of the outside world, both literally and figuratively. You leave your social status, your daily worries, and your cumbersome outer garments in the Apodyterium. It's a symbolic act, a transition from the public persona to the private self, ready to be purified and renewed. One quirky tidbit about this room: sometimes you might find small, votive offerings left in the niches or on ledges. These could be small tokens of thanks to the gods for a successful visit, or perhaps a plea for good health. Imagine finding a tiny, forgotten terracotta charm next to your tunic. It's a subtle reminder that even in this seemingly mundane space, the spiritual often intertwined with the practical in Roman life. It's almost charming, isn't it? A little ancient good luck charm for your dip. You take a deep, slow breath, feeling the warmth seep into your skin. The floor under your bare feet is cool, polished stone, smooth and welcoming. You can feel the slight tingle of anticipation, a gentle excitement for the heat and relaxation that awaits you deeper within the bath complex. The early hour feels less like a chore and more like a privilege, a secret shared only by a few. You are ready to move on, to step from this transitional space into the next chamber, where the true warmth of the Roman bathhouse begins to unfold. From the hushed Apodyterium, you move into another archway, and the change is immediate and welcoming. This is the Tepidarium, the warm room. And oh, what a difference a few degrees make. The air here wraps around you like a soft, invisible blanket, chasing away any lingering chill from the Roman dawn. It's not hot, not yet. It's simply warm. A profound, enveloping warmth that seems to sink directly into your bones. The room is large, perhaps even grander than the changing room, with high ceilings that absorb sound, leaving only a gentle, diffused hum. Sunlight, or what little there is at this hour, filters through high windows, catching the rising mist that hangs faintly in the air, creating a soft, ethereal glow. The mosaic floor under your bare feet feels pleasantly warm now, a comforting contrast to the cooler stones you just traversed. Around the perimeter, you see marble benches, curved and smooth, inviting you to recline. Some bathers are already stretched out on these, eyes closed, looking utterly serene, like statues sculpted from contentment. This Tepidarium is the crucial intermediary chamber in the Roman bathing sequence. It's where you truly begin to acclimatize to the rising temperatures, allowing your body to gently adjust before the intense heat of the next room. Think of it as the ultimate warm-up pool without the water. Or perhaps the most relaxing waiting room you've ever encountered, without the fluorescent lighting and the elevator music. It's designed for a slow, languid transition, a place where the muscles begin to loosen, the pores begin to open, and the mind begins to truly unwind. You can practically feel the tension from your shoulders melting away, drop by slow drop. You find an empty spot on a marble bench, the stone smooth and slightly warm against your skin. You lie back, feeling the gentle heat radiating from the walls and floor, a testament to the ingenious hypocaust system hidden beneath. The air is still, almost heavy, yet it feels perfectly breathable, carrying a faint, clean scent, perhaps the subtle aroma of the perfumed olive oil from earlier, or the faint, clean smell of warm, wet stone. It's not the cloying humidity of a modern steam room. It's a drier, more pervasive warmth designed to gradually coax your body into relaxation. Around you, the sounds are minimal. The soft, rhythmic breathing of other bathers, the occasional almost inaudible sigh of deep contentment, or the very gentle shifting of someone adjusting their position. You might hear the distant, almost unnoticeable splash from a deeper pool, or the soft, rhythmic drips of water from unseen pipes. It's a soundscape designed for profound rest, a true ASMR experience before the term was even invented. The Tepidarium was a key intermediary room in the Roman bathing sequence, crucial for gradual temperature adjustment. It prevented the shock of moving directly from cold to intense heat, protecting the bathers' bodies from sudden drastic changes. It was a testament to Roman understanding of the human body and comfort, even if they sometimes achieved it through somewhat rougher methods in other aspects of life. One of the more quirky or fringe tidbits about the Tepidarium is the role it played beyond mere temperature adjustment. While its primary function was preparatory, some texts suggest that bathers would sometimes have fragrant oils massaged into their skin here, or even be exposed to aromatic steam, creating an almost therapeutic, scented atmosphere. Imagine a subtle waft of rose petals or exotic spices drifting through the warm air as you lay there, just letting your thoughts unravel. It's a far cry from the utilitarian locker room you might be used to. As you lie there, you might find your mind starting to wander, to gently drift. The Roman day is about to begin outside, but here, time seems to stretch and blur. You are in a bubble of warmth, a sanctuary from the world. You're not quite asleep, but you're certainly not awake in the conventional sense either. This is the art of simply being, a skill perhaps perfected by the Romans who had entire complexes dedicated to this exact purpose. It's a slow-living paradise, a far cry from your frantic morning coffee rituals. Historians still argue whether the Tepidarium also served as a primary social area during certain times of day, or if its role was strictly preparatory. While the main social hub was often the Palaestra or even the Frigidarium later in the day, the quiet, comfortable nature of the Tepidarium suggests that at certain hours, particularly early morning like this, it might have been a place for hushed contemplation or very quiet, intimate conversations among close friends. For now, though, it's a haven of individual peace. You let the warmth permeate every inch of your being, from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. The soft, even glow of the room seems to dim even further as your eyes grow heavy, and the gentle sounds of the bathhouse become part of the background hum of your own inner quiet. You are preparing not just for the next room, but for a complete mental and physical reset. The Tepidarium has done its work. You feel ready now, truly ready, to embrace the next stage of your Roman bath experience, to step into the greater heat that awaits. From the gentle, soothing embrace of the Tepidarium, you now step through another arched doorway, and the world immediately shifts. This, my friend, is the Caldarium, the hot room. And if the Tepidarium was a warm blanket, the Caldarium is a full-on embrace from a very enthusiastic, very sweaty Roman. The air here is thick, heavy with intense heat and a pervasive, comforting steam. It wraps around you instantly, a visceral presence that makes your skin tingle and your pores, you just know, are already springing open like tiny trapdoors. It's not an uncomfortable heat, not yet, but a profound, enveloping warmth that leaves no doubt about its purpose. Your breath feels warmer as you inhale, and a light sheen of perspiration immediately forms on your skin. You might even feel a tiny droplet of condensation forming on your eyebrows. The room itself is a cavern of muted echoes and shifting shadows, made hazy by the omnipresent steam. The light, filtering through high windows or openings, seems diffused and softened, creating an almost dreamlike atmosphere. Large pools of hot water, called alveoli or labra, are set into the floor or along the walls, their surfaces shimmering gently, sending up plumes of warm vapor that dance in the dim light. The sound here is different too. A deeper, more resonant hum from the hypocaust system beneath your feet and behind the walls, the gentle hiss of steam escaping, and the very subtle sound of water lapping or dripping into the hot pools. Sometimes, you might hear a soft sigh of contentment from another bather, or a low, almost guttural groan as someone pushes themselves to truly relax. You choose a spot on a warm marble bench, perhaps near one of the hot pools, and settle in. The stone beneath you radiates heat, a comforting constant. This is where the serious sweating begins. The Romans understood the therapeutic benefits of heat. It opened the pores, stimulated circulation, and promoted deep cleansing. This room was the heart of the Roman bathing ritual, the place where impurities were truly drawn out of the body. Think of it as the ultimate detox chamber, but with a lot more exposed skin and a distinct lack of scented candles. As the heat intensifies, you can feel your muscles relaxing, yielding to the warmth. The tension that perhaps still lingered from your early morning journey through the city streets now completely dissolves. You might even feel a tiny trickle of sweat begin its journey down your back. It's not unpleasant, it's a feeling of purification, a sense of shedding the days, or rather, the night's, accumulations. The Caldarium was indeed the hottest room in the Roman baths, and its formidable heat was generated by the ingenious hypocaust system. This meant hot air circulated under the raised floors and through hollow spaces within the walls, heating the entire room and even the water in the hot pools. This engineering marvel allowed the Romans to create consistently warm environments, a feat that would impress even modern HVAC engineers. And it's why you're not currently shivering. One rather quirky, yet essential, tidbit of the Caldarium experience revolved around the strigil. Remember that curved bronze scraper you brought? This is its moment to shine. After you've had a good, thorough sweat, you would coat your body in olive oil, often lightly scented, and then use the strigil to scrape off the oil, sweat, and any accumulated dirt. It sounds a bit like scraping wallpaper, doesn't it? But it was incredibly effective. You might even see others performing this ritual, their movements slow and deliberate, a testament to centuries of practice technique. Some bathers would even have a slave or attendant perform this scraping for them, which, if you think about it, is a rather intimate service for a public bathhouse. Historians still argue whether the primary goal of the Caldarium was purely hygiene or also social interaction, especially considering how many hours Romans spent at the baths. While later in the day it might have been a place for quiet gossip, at this early hour, the focus is decidedly personal. Most of the other bathers are focused inward, perhaps even eyes closed, meditating on the heat, lost in their own thoughts. There's a palpable sense of individual pilgrimage here, a quiet pursuit of inner peace before the world descends into its daily bustle. You might even catch yourself trying to formulate a witty observation or a light joke, but the heat seems to melt the words before they fully form. It's a place for feeling, not for talking. The world outside, with its politics, its commerce, its noisy chariots, feels impossibly distant, a faint echo from another reality. All that matters is the present moment, the warmth, the steam, the quiet pulse of your own body as it yields to the cleansing process. It's like being in a giant, very warm cocoon. As the heat begins to feel complete, as you feel thoroughly warmed and cleansed by the pervasive steam, a sense of readiness begins to settle. You've sweated out the impurities, opened your pores, and prepared your body for the next stage. The thought of cooler air, of a refreshing dip, starts to become increasingly appealing. The Caldarium has done its profound, heat-filled work. It's time to move on, to complete the cycle of purification and refreshment that awaits you. Having fully indulged in the embracing heat of the Caldarium, you now step through yet another archway, entering a space that immediately provides a bracing contrast. This is the Frigidarium, the cold room. And let me tell you, the name is not an exaggeration. The air here is noticeably cooler, crisp, and clean, instantly raising goosebumps on your skin after the oppressive warmth you've just left. The cool marble floor under your bare feet sends a delightful shiver up your spine. Unlike the hazy, steamy atmosphere of the Caldarium, this room is often brightly lit by larger windows, allowing the Predawn light, or whatever illumination there is, to flood in, making the clear, almost turquoise water of the large plunge pool glitter invitingly. Or perhaps, invitingly isn't quite the right word when your body has just been slow-cooked to perfection. The sound here is different too, clearer, sharper echoes. You might hear the crisp splash of water as another early bather takes a quick dip, or the gentle, rhythmic sound of water being replenished in the pool. It's a sound that promises revitalization, a stark wake-up call after the languid warmth of the preceding chambers. This sudden change is precisely the point. The Romans, in their wisdom, knew that a sharp contrast in temperatures was key to closing the pores, stimulating circulation, and toning the body. It's like hitting a reset button after a long, drawn-out meditation. You approach the edge of the plunge pool. The water looks deceptively calm, its surface still and clear. You can see the mosaics on the bottom, intricate patterns of marine life or geometric designs, as if to remind you that even cold water can be beautiful. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself for the inevitable. There's no easing in here. This isn't a gradual transition, it's a full commitment. You step into the water, and whoosh, the initial shock is electrifying. It's a full-body gasp, a jolt that makes every cell in your body snap awake. For a fleeting second, you might even think of a modern ice bath challenge, but this is less about endurance and more about exhilaration. The water, though undeniably cold, feels incredibly clean, bracing, and invigorating against your skin. You might even let out a small, involuntary oof or ah as your body reacts, but it's a sound of awakening, not discomfort. It's like that first gulp of really cold water on a hot day, but for your entire body. The Frigidarium was a standard part of the Roman bathing sequence, almost always featuring a plunge pool. It served as the final step in the hot-cold cycle, meant to contract the capillaries, refresh the skin, and leave the bather feeling energized. It was considered essential for health and well-being, a vital counterpoint to the heat that came before it. This mainstream historical fact is a testament to their understanding of hydrotherapy, even if they didn't call it that. One quirky tidbit about the Frigidarium is the almost theatrical nature of the plunge for some Romans. While many would simply jump in, others might have performed little rituals, perhaps invoking certain gods for strength or good health, or even letting out a dramatic cry as they hit the cold water. There are even accounts of some bathers in colder regions having snow or ice brought in to make the water even more shockingly cold. Talk about dedication to your morning routine. Imagine trying to convince your modern self to do that before your first coffee. You don't linger long. The point isn't to freeze, but to refresh. A quick dip, perhaps a brief swim across the length of the pool, and then you're clambering out, feeling strangely light and remarkably awake. Water streams from your body, evaporating quickly in the slightly warmer air of the room, leaving your skin tingling and alive. Your senses are heightened, your mind clear. It's like your internal battery has just been fully recharged. Historians still argue whether repeated cold plunges were genuinely seen as health benefits or more as a test of endurance and part of a fashion or trend. While modern science does acknowledge benefits of cold exposure, the Roman motivation might have been a blend of practical hygiene, perceived medical benefits, and certainly a degree of social expectation. It was a way to prove your mettle, to show you could handle the invigorating shock. As you stand, dripping slightly, you notice the subtle shift in the light outside the large windows. The sky is beginning to lighten more definitively, the deep purples and indigos giving way to softer blues and hints of pink on the horizon. The city is still mostly quiet, but you can feel a subtle stirring, a distant murmur that suggests the world is slowly, reluctantly waking up. But you're already there. You're not just awake, you're invigorated, cleansed, and utterly refreshed. The cycle is complete. From the cool night, to the gentle warmth, to the steamy heat, and finally, to the shocking, beautiful cold. The Frigidarium leaves you feeling utterly renewed, ready for the next stage of your Roman bath experience, which, surprisingly, might not involve more water at all. You're feeling perfectly balanced, a gentle hum of energy coursing through your veins. From the exhilarating, invigorating chill of the Frigidarium, you emerge feeling utterly refreshed, a delightful tingle still on your skin. The cold plunge has done its job, leaving you alert and clear-headed. Now, you have a choice, a pleasant dilemma that highlights the comprehensive nature of the Roman bath experience. Do you seek gentle activity, or do you desire further quiet contemplation? You might find yourself drawn to an open archway leading out into what appears to be a large, colonnaded courtyard. This is the Palaestra, the exercise ground. Usually, by mid-morning, this space would be a lively hub of activity, men wrestling, throwing javelins, or playing various forms of ancient Roman ball games. It would be a symphony of grunts, shouts, and the thud of bodies. But at this early hour, it's a different scene entirely. The air here is still cool, but it carries the clean scent of damp earth and fresh air. The columns, tall and stately, cast long shadows across the neatly raked sand or turf. A few other early risers might be engaged in very light, almost meditative exercise. You might see someone gently stretching, or perhaps two figures quietly engaged in a slow, almost dance-like form of wrestling, more about balance and form than brute strength. It's less a modern gym and more a quiet, open-air yoga studio, albeit without the Lululemon. The sounds are sparse, the soft scuff of bare feet on sand, the gentle thump of a leather ball against a wall, or the soft, rhythmic breathing of someone performing calisthenics. There's a subtle, quiet energy to it, a sense of bodies waking up, moving with purpose but without haste. You could join them, perhaps engaging in a few slow, deliberate stretches, feeling your muscles lengthen and warm after the cold plunge. This emphasis on physical activity as part of overall well-being was a mainstream historical fact. Romans believed in a sound mind in a sound body, and the baths were designed to cater to both. However, if physical exertion isn't calling to you after such a thorough cleansing, the bath complex offers other sanctuaries. You might wander into a quieter, more dimly lit alcove, perhaps a small library or reading room, the bibliotheca, or simply a series of cushioned benches lining a cool corridor. These were spaces designed for odium, a Roman concept of leisure that meant productive use of free time, often involving intellectual pursuits or quiet contemplation, rather than just mindless relaxation. Think of it as ancient Roman chill-out zones, but instead of streaming Netflix, you might be quietly reading a scroll of Cicero or just thinking. The atmosphere in these quiet retreats is one of profound stillness. The only sounds are the occasional rustle of a papyrus scroll being turned, the soft drip of water from an unseen fountain, or the almost imperceptible hum of the bath complex itself. The light is subdued, casting soft, inviting shadows that encourage introspection. You could sit on a cool marble bench, perhaps with a soft cushion provided by an attendant later in the day, though at this hour, you might just find a clean spot and simply exist. One rather quirky tidbit related to the Palaestra is the pilula, or small, often leather-bound ball that Romans used. These weren't just for vigorous games. Lighter versions were used for gentle tossage, almost like a meditative exercise. Imagine a very slow-motion game of catch, perhaps even solitary, just to engage the body without taxing the mind. It's a wonderfully understated way to get a bit of movement in without breaking a sweat, which, after all that scraping, would be a bit counterproductive. Historians still argue whether the Palaestra was genuinely used for vigorous exercise at all hours, or if it became more of a social promenade, especially in the mornings. While it certainly served as a bustling gym later in the day, the quiet of the early hours suggests that the primary purpose was either for those truly dedicated to physical fitness or for a gentle, contemplative start to their day. It's a reflection of the varied needs of the Roman populace. You choose your path, whether it's a gentle stretch in the open air of the Palaestra or finding a quiet corner in a shaded corridor. In either case, the feeling of serene calm remains, a gentle echo of the profound relaxation achieved in the warm rooms and the invigorating shock of the cold plunge. Your body feels light, your mind clear, and the world outside the bathhouse walls still feels pleasantly distant. This time within the bath complex, this quiet continuation of your ritual, is about prolonging that feeling of peace. It's about letting the sensations settle, allowing your body and mind to fully absorb the benefits of the bathing cycle. There's no rush, no external pressure. It's simply about existing in this moment, in this ancient sanctuary. The air is still soft against your skin, and the subtle sounds of the waking bathhouse continue their gentle lullaby. You're not quite ready to face the world yet, but you're certainly preparing yourself, slowly, soothingly, for whatever comes next. Having found your moment of calm, whether through a gentle stretch in the Palaestra or quiet contemplation in a peaceful alcove, you now feel completely refreshed and invigorated. The cold plunge left your skin tingling, and the warmth of the bathhouse is now a pleasant memory rather than an oppressive heat. It's time for the true Roman secret to silky smooth skin, the final stages of oiling, scraping, and grooming. You wander towards an area with more benches, perhaps near one of the warmer transition rooms, where the light is a little brighter. This is where bathers would engage in the final, meticulous acts of personal hygiene. You'll see others around you, some self-sufficiently handling their own post-bath routine, others perhaps receiving assistance from a slave or an attendant. The air here carries a new scent, a subtle, earthy, yet fragrant aroma of olive oil, perhaps mingled with hints of rose or lavender. It's remarkably pleasant, like stepping into an ancient, very tranquil perfumery. You take out your small amphora of perfumed olive oil, which you smartly remembered to bring from the Apodyterium. The oil itself is a light amber, feeling silky and cool against your palm. You begin to anoint your skin, starting with your arms, then your legs, moving to your torso. The oil spreads easily, creating a soft, glistening sheen on your body. It's not just about hydration, it's about completing the cleansing process. The oil would help dissolve any remaining impurities on your skin after the extensive sweating, preparing it for the final scrape. Think of it as the ultimate ancient Roman moisturizer and cleanser in one go, a multi-purpose wonder liquid. Now comes the star of the show, your trusty strigil. You pick up the curved bronze scraper, its edge smooth and slightly dulled from countless uses. This isn't a sharp blade, mind you, but a finely crafted tool designed to glide over the skin, gently lifting away the oil, sweat, and loosened dead skin cells. You start on your arm, applying gentle pressure and drawing the curve of the strigil down your skin. The sensation is strangely satisfying. It's not uncomfortable at all, but a pleasant, almost exfoliating scrape, leaving your skin feeling incredibly clean and surprisingly smooth. You might hear the quiet each sound of other strigils being used around you, a rhythmic whisper of personal hygiene. It's quite the peculiar sight for a modern sensibility, a room full of people, naked, scraping themselves with metal tools. It's certainly more intimate than your average modern shower, and probably a little less discreet than using a loofah. but it works. The strigil and olive oil were fundamental tools for Roman bathing hygiene, used to cleanse the skin after sweating. This was their soap, their body wash, and their exfoliant all rolled into one. A brilliant, if a bit messy, system. Beyond the scraping, this was also a time for other grooming rituals. You might notice some Romans engaging in the rather intense act of hair removal, using small tweezers, known as valselli, or even a rudimentary form of waxing with sticky resins. They'd remove unwanted body hair. Imagine trying to explain your waxing salon to a Roman. Yes, we pay people to rip hair out of us for beauty. They'd probably just nod, understanding the universal pursuit of smoothness, even if the methods were slightly different. One rather quirky or fringe tidbit about this process involves what happened to the scraped-off residue. This mixture of oil, sweat, and dead skin, known as groma or migma, was not simply discarded. Believe it or not, it was sometimes collected and sold. The scraped-off bath dirt was thought to have medicinal properties and was used in various concoctions, from cosmetics to alleged cures for skin ailments. So, in essence, some Romans were effectively buying and selling bottled sweat. It's a concept that really makes you appreciate modern sanitary practices, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the dirt scraped off was mostly actual grime or mostly the oil itself and dead skin, or how truly effective it was compared to soap. While the visual might suggest deep cleansing, the primary function was likely the removal of the applied oil and the superficial layer of epidermal cells, leaving the skin feeling remarkably soft and clean. It's less about removing visible grit and more about a holistic approach to skin health. You complete your own scraping, feeling a profound sense of cleanliness. Your skin feels soft, supple, and strangely receptive to the air around it. The warmth is now perfectly comfortable, the chill of the early morning a distant memory. This personal ritual, performed in quiet company, leaves you feeling utterly renewed inside and out. Some bathers might also indulge in a gentle massage at this point, perhaps from a unctors, messer, who would rub down the body with more perfumed oils. But at this early hour, it's more likely to be a quick, self-administered rub-down, focusing on lingering knots or stiffness. The atmosphere remains one of quiet self-care, a profound dedication to one's own well-being before the demands of the Roman day truly begin. You are cleansed, refreshed, and now, perfectly groomed, ready for the next subtle indulgence the bathhouse offers. Having completed your thorough Roman cleansing ritual, your skin feeling wonderfully soft and fresh, you might now feel a gentle rumble in your stomach. All that heat, sweating, and invigoration can work up a subtle appetite. It's a good thing, then, that the Roman baths, in their infinite wisdom, were designed to cater to almost every need, including the need for a light refreshment. You drift towards a slightly more open area, perhaps a small, semicircular alcove or a designated corner of a wider hall. Here, attendants might preside over modest tables or counters laden with simple provisions. The air now carries a faint, pleasing aroma, not the heavy scent of a full Roman feast, but the wholesome smell of fresh bread, maybe a hint of sharp cheese, and the briny tang of olives. It's a subtle scent, a gentle promise of sustenance. You might see small clay pitchers of water, perhaps some diluted wine, or even the ubiquitous Roman staple, pasca. Now, pasca is interesting. It's essentially water mixed with vinegar, sometimes with herbs or spices added. Think of it as the ancient Roman energy drink. If energy drinks were designed to quench thirst on a march and tasted like vinegar water. It was incredibly popular, especially among soldiers and the working classes, because it was hydrating and cheap. You could try it, but be warned, it's an acquired taste for the modern palate. It makes kombucha seem like a sugary soda. For snacks, don't expect anything too elaborate. This isn't a Michelin-star dining experience. You'll find simple, wholesome fare. Small, dense loaves of bread, perhaps still warm from a nearby oven, a selection of olives, and possibly some firm, salty cheese. You might also see dried figs or dates, offering a burst of natural sweetness. These were the fuel of everyday Roman life, practical and fortifying without being heavy. You could take a small piece of bread, perhaps tear off a chunk, and dip it in a small bowl of olive oil. Simple, yet incredibly satisfying. Roman baths often included facilities for food and drink, reflecting their role as social and community centers. This wasn't just a place to get clean, it was a place to spend a significant portion of your day, a Roman equivalent of a community center, gym, and even a casual dining spot all rolled into one. This is a mainstream historical fact that highlights the holistic nature of Roman public life. You might select a small, crusty roll and a handful of plump, dark olives. The bread is dense and satisfying, its texture rough but honest, and the olives are bursting with salty, rich flavor. You sip a cool, refreshing cup of plain water, perhaps the best choice at this early hour, leaving you feeling truly hydrated and clean. One rather quirky or fringe tidbit is the widespread use of garum. This fermented fish sauce was the ketchup of ancient Rome, used on almost everything. You might find a small amphora of it available for dipping your bread, or perhaps even a little sprinkled on your cheese. It's a strong, savory, umami flavor, and while it might sound odd to us today, it was absolutely essential to Roman cuisine. Imagine dipping your morning bagel in fish sauce. It's certainly a unique way to wake up your taste buds. The atmosphere here is still quiet, but with a gentle hum of low-level activity. People are mostly focused on their own quiet replenishment, some sitting on benches, others standing as they quickly consume a few bites. There's no loud chatter, no boisterous laughter. Just the soft clinking of pottery, the rustle of linen, and the quiet sounds of eating. It's a moment of gentle nourishment, a perfect follow-up to the physical cleansing. Historians still argue whether these refreshments were primarily for sustenance after exercise or simply a part of the broader leisure aspect of the baths. While clearly serving a practical purpose, the availability of snacks also contributed to the idea of the baths as a place of prolonged relaxation and enjoyment, a mini-resort where you could truly unwind. It suggests that the Romans understood the importance of both physical and mental well-being, including satisfying minor hunger pangs. You feel a quiet satisfaction settle over you as you finish your light snack. Your body, already cleansed and invigorated, now feels gently fueled, ready for whatever gentle activities or social interactions the rest of the morning might bring. The flavors, though simple, were profound in their honesty, a taste of everyday Roman life. You've shed the day's grime, toned your body, and now quietly replenished your energy. The bathhouse continues its gentle, rhythmic life around you, a sanctuary of calm before the Roman day truly explodes into its vibrant, noisy self. With a light snack having gently settled your stomach, you feel a profound sense of well-being, a quiet satisfaction that permeates your entire being. The Roman bathhouse is still mostly serene, a far cry from the clamor and chaos that will descend upon it later in the day. But even at this early hour, you'll notice a subtle undercurrent of human connection, a soft hum of interaction that distinguishes it from a mere cleansing facility. You might find yourself drifting into one of the larger, more open halls, perhaps a section of the main basilica that connects different bathing areas, or a broad corridor lined with elegant columns. The light here is still muted, a soft, diffused glow that seems to encourage intimacy rather than grand pronouncements. This is where the quiet conversations happen, the whispered exchanges, the subtle nods of recognition between early risers. Instead of the booming voices and raucous laughter that will echo here at midday, you hear only low murmurs, like the gentle rustle of leaves in a barely there breeze. The soft ship of sandals on polished marble is almost imperceptible. Occasionally, a quiet cough, or the soft tinkle of a small bronze coin being slipped into a palm, indicating a transaction for a special oil or a quick massage. It's a discreet, almost conspiratorial atmosphere, where secrets might be exchanged more readily than pleasantries. Roman baths were indeed significant social hubs where people conducted business, gossiped, and relaxed. This is a mainstream historical fact that highlights the central role these complexes played in urban life. It wasn't just about hygiene, it was about community, networking, and the subtle art of Roman social climbing. Think of it as the ultimate ancient Roman coffee shop, only without the artisanal lattes and the Wi-Fi. You might observe a small group of 3 or 4 men or women, if this particular bathhouse segment allowed for mixed bathing at this hour, a point historians still argue about whether true business was conducted in the early morning or if it was reserved for more casual discussions, delaying serious matters for later in the day. Huddled together on a marble bench, their heads close, their voices barely audible. They're likely discussing the day's politics, perhaps a recent senatorial decree, or the latest gladiatorial contests. Or maybe, just maybe, they're quietly gossiping about who just got caught trying to sneak into the hotter pools without paying. It's the ancient version of whispering about your neighbors over the fence, but with more marble and less fence. One rather quirky or fringe tidbit about this early morning socializing. While the bathhouse was a public space, there was a certain etiquette to these quiet conversations. You wouldn't interrupt someone's meditation, for instance. And messages were often delivered not by shouting across the hall, but by a quiet slave or attendant who would approach silently, lean in, and deliver a whisper. Imagine a message delivery service that prioritizes ASMR levels of quiet. It was efficiency, but with a side of respectful hush. You might find yourself drawn to an overheard snippet of conversation, a phrase about a shipment of grain, or a philosophical musing on the nature of happiness. These early morning discussions were likely more about laying the groundwork, perhaps making plans for later in the day, or simply exchanging pleasantries that maintained social connections. It's Roman networking, but with a lot less forced smiles and a lot more naked honesty. The air remains warm and clean, free from the heavy perfumes and body odors that would inevitably accumulate later in the day. The light, though still soft, gradually brightens, hinting at the true dawn that is approaching outside the immense walls. You can feel the city stirring, a distant, almost imperceptible rumble that suggests carts are beginning to move, markets are being set up, and the daily grind is about to begin. But here, in the great halls of the bathhouse, you remain in a bubble of tranquility. You have the choice to engage in a soft, low conversation yourself, perhaps exchanging a few quiet words with someone you recognize from your daily visits. Or you might simply observe, a silent participant in the waking rhythm of Roman communal life. The quiet confidence gained from your full cleansing ritual allows you to feel entirely at ease, whether you choose to speak or simply to listen. This gentle hum of subdued social activity, this understated connection, is a vital part of the Roman bath experience. It's where the private cleansing ritual subtly blends into the public sphere, preparing you not just physically, but socially, for the day ahead. You've nourished your body, cleansed your skin, and now, you're quietly re-engaging with the human world, one soft whisper at a time. The bathhouse, ever attentive, continues its quiet, comforting embrace. As you've settled into the subtle hum of quiet conversation and observation, a deeper appreciation for the meticulous Roman approach to personal cleanliness begins to emerge. It's not just a quick splash and dash. It's a detailed, almost meditative ritual designed to cleanse the body and quiet the mind. You've now personally experienced the majority of its stages, feeling the profound effects on your skin and spirit. Let's delve a little deeper into the precise techniques that made this whole process so effective. Remember that journey through the hot rooms, the Caldarium, where the heat coaxed every pore to open. That was phase 1, sweating out impurities. The intense warmth generated by those unseen hypocaust fires below the floor wasn't just about making you feel good, it was about preparing your skin for the next crucial steps. It's like setting your washing machine to a pre-soak cycle, only your body is the laundry. Next came the oil. Not just any oil, but often richly perfumed olive oil, carefully chosen for its emollient properties. You poured it onto your skin, spreading it in smooth, even strokes. This oil didn't just moisturize, it acted as a solvent. As you moved it across your heated skin, it mingled with the sweat and any dust or grime that had accumulated, lifting it gently from your pores. This is a mainstream historical fact. The Romans did not use soap in the modern sense. Instead, they relied on this oil and scrape method for their primary hygiene. So, no bubbly lather, no fruity scents from a bar of soap. Just pure, natural olive oil doing all the heavy lifting. And then the glorious strigil. We've talked about it, but let's truly appreciate its engineering. That curved bronze blade, polished to a soft gleam, was perfectly designed to conform to the contours of the body. With precise, gentle strokes, you or an attendant would draw it down your skin, effectively scraping away the oil, the sweat, and the loosened dirt. It sounds rudimentary, perhaps even a little medieval to our modern ears, but the sensation, as you now know, is one of profound cleanliness. It's an exfoliating experience, a peeling back of the old, leaving behind a fresh, smooth canvas. Imagine your skin breathing a sigh of relief. This sequence, heat, oil, scrape, rinse, often with cool water from the labrum in the Caldarium, or the ultimate rinse in the Frigidarium, was the core of Roman personal hygiene. It was efficient, effective, and deeply ingrained in daily life. One rather quirky tidbit related to this ritual. While oil and the strigil were primary, Romans also sometimes used other substances for specific cleansing. For example, some would occasionally use fuller's earth, a type of absorbent clay, for hair cleansing or to tackle particularly stubborn dirt. Think of it as an ancient, all-natural dry shampoo and deep cleanser, a peculiar powder for pristine purposes. It makes you wonder what kind of ancient beauty routine YouTube tutorials they'd have if cameras existed back then. Watch me try this Roman mud mask. This extensive ritual wasn't just about looking clean, it was about feeling truly purified, inside and out. It's a sensory experience designed to reset your entire being. The feeling of the water beating off your now smooth, oil-free skin is incredibly satisfying, a testament to the thoroughness of the process. Historians still argue how effective this method actually was in a purely hygienic sense compared to modern soap, or whether it was more about social perception and ritual than germ removal. While modern understanding of bacteria and disease was non-existent, the consistent physical removal of dirt and oils, combined with copious amounts of water, undoubtedly contributed to better public health than if they simply avoided bathing. It was a societal obsession with cleanliness, driven by a deep understanding of practical hygiene, even if the why was sometimes a bit hazy. As you stand, completely clean, the scent of fresh air and clean skin now replaces any lingering aroma of steam or oil. The quiet murmurs of the bathhouse become a comforting backdrop, like a very subtle, ancient white noise machine. You feel a lightness in your limbs, a clarity in your mind. The ritual of cleansing, with its various stages and precise techniques, has left you in a state of profound relaxation, ready for whatever the subtle currents of the bathhouse and the awakening Roman day might bring next. Every pore feels open, every muscle relaxed, and your spirit, too, feels scrubbed clean. As you luxuriate in that profound sense of personal cleanliness, having completed the ritual of cleansing, it's easy to forget the immense logistical undertaking that makes this entire experience possible. This magnificent complex, from its gentle warmth to its refreshing plunge, doesn't just magically appear. It is, in fact, powered by countless unseen hands, a small army of individuals working tirelessly, often behind the scenes, to ensure your comfort and hygiene. Listen closely. Beyond the soft murmurs of conversations and the gentle splashes of water, you might detect a different kind of sound. A distant, rhythmic shoveling sound, perhaps. Or the faint smell of wood smoke, carried on a subtle current of warm air. These are the subtle clues to the constant labor happening below and around you. Down in the subterranean depths, beneath the very floors you stand on, toil the fornicators, the furnace workers. Their job is a grim one, stoking the roaring fires that heat the colossal boilers and channel hot air through the hypocaust system, warming the entire complex. Imagine a job where your daily uniform is sweat and soot, in temperatures that would make a modern sauna feel like a walk in a cool park. This essential yet often overlooked role highlights a mainstream historical fact. The operation of large Roman public baths required a significant workforce, often comprising slaves and freedmen, to maintain these marvels of engineering. You might catch a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure, perhaps a young slave or a freedman, moving quietly through a corridor, carrying fresh towels or a bucket of water. These are the general attendants, the unsung heroes of the Roman bathhouse. They refill the water basins, sweep the floors, though certainly not while you're lounging, and generally keep the immense building functioning. It's a bit like running a very large, very ancient hotel with a permanent steam problem and no vacuum cleaners. Beyond the furnace workers and general attendants, there were specialized roles. Remember the capsarii, those cloakroom attendants trying to keep your toga from disappearing? And the unctors, who would oil and massage bathers, providing that extra layer of luxury. Their presence, though perhaps more visible during the busier hours, was still essential at this early time, setting up and preparing for the day ahead. One rather quirky or fringe tidbit about these workers is the sheer scale of the resources they had to manage. The amount of wood required to fuel the furnaces of a large bath complex like the baths of Caracalla was astronomical. It's estimated that they consumed acres of forest daily, requiring a constant, organized supply chain. Imagine the logistics of keeping that fire burning. It makes you appreciate how much effort went into that gentle warmth beneath your feet. As you sit or recline, perhaps contemplating the subtle sounds of the bathhouse, you gain a deeper appreciation for the silent choreography of labor. There's a quiet efficiency to their movements, a practiced rhythm that allows the complex to run almost seamlessly. It's easy to take for granted the heated water, the clean floors, the fresh air, but each element is a direct result of someone's constant, arduous work. Historians still argue about the exact social status and daily lives of these bathhouse workers, and whether their labor was seen as menial or specialized. While many were slaves, some were freedmen who made a modest living, and even some free citizens might take on such roles, especially managing specific sections. It was a complex social hierarchy within the bathhouse walls, often mirroring the society outside, but with its own unique set of skills and challenges. It certainly wasn't a 9-to-5 desk job with a coffee break. This quiet, yet constant, activity contributes to the overall ambience of the early morning bath. It's the soft background hum of a well-oiled machine, ensuring that your journey of relaxation and rejuvenation continues uninterrupted. You won't see them often at this hour, their figures flitting between shadowy passages and maintenance rooms, but their presence is felt in every warm stone, every clean drop of water. It's a testament to Roman organization and the sheer dedication of those who kept the vast Roman infrastructure running. You might think of the vast Roman Empire and its grand achievements, but sometimes it's the quiet, uncelebrated work of individuals, like those toiling in the bathhouse depths, that truly underpins it all. Their efforts allow you to simply relax, to enjoy the seamless flow of warmth, coolness, and cleansing. And as you prepare for the concluding stages of your visit, you do so with a newfound appreciation for the ingenious systems and the tireless individuals that make this ancient luxury possible. Having appreciated the tireless work of the unseen hands that keep this colossal complex running, it's now time to marvel at the very infrastructure that makes it all possible, the ingenious Roman plumbing and heating systems. You've felt the warmth, you've plunged into the cool water, but how exactly did the Romans manage such a steady supply of both, without a single thermostat or a modern water heater? The answer lies in a blend of meticulous planning, vast resources, and truly remarkable engineering. Imagine a vast network, mostly hidden from view, silently performing its duties. First, consider the water itself. It wasn't just pulled from a local well. Instead, these magnificent bathhouses were supplied by aqueducts, those iconic Roman structures that crisscross the landscape, bringing fresh, clean water from distant springs and rivers directly into the city. This is a mainstream historical fact. Roman aqueducts and the hypocaust heating system were sophisticated engineering achievements vital for public baths. They were literally lifelines for Rome, delivering millions of gallons of water daily. It's like having your own private river delivered right to your doorstep, only this river flows uphill through clever gradient design. Once inside the bath complex, this fresh water was channeled into a series of massive reservoirs and tanks. From there, it was directed to where it was needed: cold plunge pools, drinking fountains, and most importantly, the enormous boilers that fed the hot rooms. The Romans were masters of water management, controlling flow with sophisticated valves and sluice gates. You might hear a very faint, distant gurgle or the subtle rush of water in unseen pipes as it makes its journey through the building. It's a quiet symphony of hydraulics, playing just for you. But the real magic, the secret to that consistent, comforting warmth you've experienced, lies beneath your very feet and within the walls surrounding you. This is the hypocaust system. Imagine a vast, hollow space built under every heated room, supported by thousands of small brick pillars, known as pili. These pillars would be about 2 feet high, creating an empty chamber where hot air could circulate freely. The furnace workers, those fornicators we mentioned, would stoke massive fires in the hypocaust furnaces, and the hot air and smoke from these fires would be drawn through this underfloor cavity. Not only did this heat the floor, but it also extended into the walls. Hollow rectangular tiles, called tubuli, were built into the walls, creating vertical flues that carried the hot air upwards, heating the walls themselves. So, you're not just feeling radiant heat from the floor, you're being enveloped by warmth from every direction. It's like being inside a giant, very comfortable, ancient oven. Except, without the roasting part. One rather quirky, though perhaps slightly concerning, tidbit about this system is the extensive use of lead pipes for water distribution within the baths. While the Romans understood hydraulics incredibly well, they didn't quite grasp the long-term health implications of lead poisoning. They just knew lead was easy to shape and durable. So, while you're enjoying that refreshing cold plunge, just remember the water traveled through pipes that might make a modern plumber wince. Don't worry, it's just a historical thought, not an immediate health hazard for you. Historians still argue about the precise methods of temperature regulation within the baths, given varying external conditions and bather preferences. How did they ensure the Caldarium was consistently hot, but not scalding, and the Tepidarium just pleasantly warm? It likely involved a combination of controlling the furnace fires, adjusting water flow, and clever architectural design that allowed for natural ventilation and heat distribution. It was an art as much as a science, a Roman version of a smart home climate control system, but with more manual labor and fewer digital readouts. As you lean back, feeling the gentle, consistent warmth radiating from the very structure of the building, you can't help but be impressed. These ancient Romans, with their comparatively simpler tools, built complexes that rival modern spa facilities in their sophistication and scale. There were no pumps, no complex electrical systems, yet they managed to create an environment of controlled heat and abundant water, all thanks to a profound understanding of gravity, fluid dynamics, and thermodynamics. It's an invisible ballet of engineering, dancing all around you. This quiet appreciation for the unseen marvels of Roman construction adds another layer to your relaxation. You're not just a bather, you're a temporary resident in a living, breathing testament to human ingenuity. The subtle hum of the system, the soft flow of water, all contribute to a sense of profound calm, a reminder of the enduring power of clever design to bring comfort and luxury even before the invention of the humble thermostat. As you settle into the quiet hum of the bathhouse, perhaps contemplating the unseen marvels of Roman engineering that sustain its warmth and water, your thoughts might gently drift to the less tangible, more intriguing aspects of Roman life. For the Romans, daily routines were often intertwined with beliefs, omens, and even a touch of the mystical. And the bathhouse, a place of personal vulnerability and rejuvenation, was no exception. It was a site where the practical met the peculiar, and where anxieties sometimes found very strange outlets. Think about the quiet echoes around you. Are they just the sounds of the building, or something more? The Romans certainly believed in the power of unseen forces, particularly those associated with water. Springs, rivers, and certainly the vast pools of the bathhouse were often considered sacred, imbued with healing properties or even the presence of minor deities. You might envision small altars or dedications, perhaps a tiny votive offering placed near a cold plunge pool, a silent prayer for health or good fortune. It's like finding a lucky penny in a modern fountain, but with a lot more historical weight. This blend of the practical and the superstitious is a mainstream historical fact. Romans often combined daily life with religious beliefs and superstitions, including those related to water and health. They would seek out specific springs for their purported medicinal qualities, and the act of bathing itself could take on a ritualistic, almost purifying, significance beyond mere cleanliness. Now for a truly quirky, almost bizarre, tidbit. The discovery of cursed tablets, or depictions, found in various Roman bathhouses. These were small sheets of lead or sometimes bronze, inscribed with curses aimed at individuals who had wronged the petitioner, often, ironically, by stealing their belongings in the very bathhouse. Imagine going for a relaxing soak, only to find someone's written plea to the gods to inflict fever and boils upon the person who nicked their strigil. It's the ancient equivalent of a very dramatic, very specific, one-star Yelp review that could genuinely ruin someone's day. These tablets would be rolled up or folded and deposited in a place believed to connect to the underworld, like a well or a drain within the baths. The idea was to enlist a deity, or sometimes even a demon, to exact revenge on the thief. So, while you're enjoying the calm, remember that somewhere beneath your feet, there might be a tiny, silent plea for divine retribution for a stolen toga. It certainly adds a layer of unexpected drama to your peaceful morning. Historians still argue whether these superstitions were widespread and genuinely feared, or if they were more niche practices, perhaps favored by the less educated or those truly desperate for justice. Were these curses merely a form of psychological deterrent, or did people genuinely believe they held power? It's hard to say definitively, but their presence certainly paints a vivid picture of Roman anxieties, even within the supposed sanctuary of the baths. It reminds you that even in a place of relaxation, the human tendency to worry about petty theft remains constant. You might also encounter subtle signs of belief in omens or small rituals. Perhaps you see an attendant quietly pour a libation of water before opening a certain pool, or a bather gently toss a small coin into the Frigidarium, a silent thanks for its invigorating chill. These were quiet acknowledgments of the forces they believed governed their world, a way of ensuring continued blessings or warding off ill luck. It's like gently knocking on wood, but with more reverence and considerably more water. The atmosphere in the bathhouse, even with these underlying currents of superstition, remains one of profound calm. These beliefs didn't necessarily create fear. Rather, they were simply another layer of the Roman world, a subtle reminder that the mundane and the magical often coexisted seamlessly. You're not worried about a curse being aimed at you, of course, unless you've, say, accidentally picked up someone else's particularly fancy sponge. Which hopefully you haven't. This quiet reflection on the peculiar beliefs connected to the bathhouse adds a fascinating dimension to your experience. It reminds you that even the most practical structures of the ancient world were infused with the human spirit's desire to understand and influence the unknown. As the morning light outside brightens further, casting longer, more defined shadows through the high windows, you feel a subtle shift in the air. The ritual is nearing its end, and the real Roman day, with all its mundane realities and lingering superstitions, is finally beginning to stir. The lingering scent of ancient beliefs and the echo of peculiar superstitions begin to gently fade as the light filtering through the bathhouse windows becomes undeniably brighter. The deep blues and purples of Predawn have given way to soft grays and hints of rose, a clear signal that the Roman day is now truly stirring outside. It's time to prepare yourself for its return, to slowly transition from this serene sanctuary back into the world. You might feel a subtle shift in the air, a gentle current signaling the opening of more external doors as the bath complex prepares for its busier hours. The distant sounds of the city, once a mere whisper, are now a more defined murmur. The faint rumble of carts on cobblestones, the distant shouts of street vendors setting up their stalls, perhaps the bleating of a few hungry goats being led to market. It's the world outside, gently calling you back. Your skin, having been thoroughly cleansed and invigorated by the hot and cold cycles, feels incredibly soft and refreshed. Now, the process of drying off is a bit simpler than you might expect. Forget your fluffy, absorbent modern terrycloth towels. The Romans primarily used thin linen cloths. You might have brought one with you, or perhaps a small, dry piece of cloth provided by an attendant. The method is less about vigorous rubbing and more about gently patting away excess moisture, allowing the warmth of the room to air dry the rest. It's surprisingly effective, leaving your skin feeling light and unburdened. It's like a very natural, very quiet, full-body blow-dry. As you dry, you begin the slow process of redressing. You make your way back to the Apodyterium, your niche patiently waiting for your return. The clothes you shed earlier, your simple tunic or elegant toga, now feel strangely substantial against your freshly cleansed skin. There's a distinct pleasure in feeling clean fabric against a truly clean body, a sensation of freshness that modern showers rarely achieve. The Roman bath was often a daily ritual for many, and the transition from bath to street was a common part of their routine. This mainstream historical fact emphasizes how deeply ingrained bathing was in their daily lives, a continuous cycle of purification and re-engagement with the world. Imagine having such a luxurious, multi-step morning routine every single day. Putting on a toga, even a simpler one, can be a bit of an art form, especially if you're still slightly damp. It's not just throwing on a t-shirt. You'll need to drape and fold it just so, ensuring the pleats fall correctly. It's a moment of quiet precision, a gentle reminder that even the act of dressing was a skilled endeavor in ancient Rome. You might catch a fleeting glimpse of another bather struggling slightly with their own drapery, a small, shared moment of silent, sympathetic amusement. One rather quirky tidbit is the casual nature of Roman clothing after the bath. While you might apply a touch of your own perfumed oil or balm, perhaps a remnant of that collection from Section 7, you wouldn't necessarily read on heavy perfumes or elaborate makeup if you were headed straight to work. The aim was a clean, natural freshness. Some Romans, especially those walking home, might have even walked back slightly damp, letting the morning air complete the drying process. It's the Roman equivalent of leaving the gym with your hair still a bit wet, but with significantly more style. As you emerge from the Apodyterium, fully dressed once more, the atmosphere in the main halls of the bathhouse is subtly different. While still far from the midday throng, there's a distinct increase in activity. More attendants are moving purposefully, preparing for the influx of later bathers. The sounds of the outside world are clearer now, less muffled. You can almost feel the city stretching, yawning, and getting ready for its busy day. Historians still argue whether the morning bath was genuinely for business readiness or more a leisurely start before serious work, given the time involved. While a quick dip could certainly prepare one for the day, the full ritual, as you've experienced, takes a considerable amount of time. It suggests that for many, it was indeed a luxurious opening to the day, a way to refresh mind and body before delving into the demands of politics, commerce, or family life. It was a conscious decision to slow down, to engage in self-care before the rush. You feel utterly transformed. The chill of the Predawn morning is long gone, replaced by a deep, sustained warmth. Your skin is clean, your muscles relaxed, and your mind is clear and calm. You've experienced not just a bath, but a profound ancient ritual, a journey through heat, cold, and quiet contemplation. As you approach the grand entrance once more, the bronze doors now fully open, revealing the brightening Roman street, you feel a subtle shift. You are ready. You are cleansed, refreshed, and quietly prepared to re-enter the waking world, carrying with you the tranquil echo of the bathhouse before dawn. Stepping out from the grand entrance of the bathhouse, the Roman morning greets you with a gentle, refreshing coolness against your newly cleansed skin. The sky, now a soft tapestry of pastel blues and faint pinks, promises the full arrival of dawn. The city, once a mere murmur, is now undeniably alive, a symphony of waking sounds that, surprisingly, don't jar your newfound tranquility. You hear the distinct clatter of a cart rumbling down a nearby street, perhaps laden with fresh produce for the morning market. The distant, rhythmic cries of vendors announcing their wares drift on the cool air, a prelude to the day's commerce. You might even catch the gentle bleating of a few sheep or goats being led through a narrow alley, their soft cries a humble counterpoint to the growing urban bustle. Yet none of it feels intrusive. Instead, it's like listening to the world wake up around you, while you remain suspended in a bubble of serene calm. This feeling, this profound lightness and clarity, is the true gift of the Roman bath. Your body feels supple, your skin smooth and clean, and your mind is remarkably sharp, yet utterly relaxed. It's a stark contrast to how you might have felt trudging through the pre-dawn streets, a little groggy, perhaps still clinging to the last vestiges of sleep. Now, you feel invigorated, ready to face whatever the Roman day might bring, from a leisurely philosophical discussion to a surprisingly intense game of dice. The social and health benefits of Roman bathing were widely recognized, contributing to a profound sense of well-being. This was a mainstream historical fact. Romans understood that a clean body often led to a clear mind, and that communal activity, even quiet observation, was good for the soul. It was their ancient version of a spa day, a gym session, and a quiet coffee morning all rolled into one magnificent package. As you walk, your sandals making a soft, rhythmic sound on the still cool cobblestones, you notice the other early risers. Some are heading to the forum, already deep in conversation, their togas pristine. Others are making their way to their shops or workshops, a quiet determination in their stride. You feel a subtle difference between yourself and them. You've undergone a transformation, a quiet ritual that has set you apart, leaving you uniquely prepared. One rather quirky tidbit about this post-bath feeling was the phenomenon of bath breath, not bad breath, but the notion that after a thorough cleansing, your senses, including taste and smell, were so heightened that even the simplest foods tasted incredible. Some Romans even scheduled important meetings or intellectual pursuits after their bath, believing their minds were at their most acute and receptive. Imagine pitching your big idea to your boss right after an ancient Roman hot tub and cold plunge. You'd be practically unstoppable. Historians still argue whether the perceived health benefits were truly due to the physical cleansing or more the psychological effects of relaxation and social interaction. While the physical hygiene was undoubtedly important in a world without modern sanitation, the mental rejuvenation, the communal aspect, and the sheer luxury of it all likely played a huge role in the feeling of well-being. It's hard to separate the body from the mind, even for the Romans. You glance back at the bathhouse, its colossal form now softened by the rising sun, its columns catching the first golden light. It stands as a testament to an ancient civilization's dedication to comfort, cleanliness, and community. Its internal warmth and soothing sounds now seem to ripple gently outwards, a quiet blessing upon the waking city. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this experience, for this journey into a time when simple pleasures were elevated to a grand art form. As the sun begins its slow ascent, casting longer, warmer shadows across the Roman Forum, you carry with you not just the memory of a unique historical moment, but a feeling of deep peace that settles over you like a soft, comforting blanket. Your muscles are relaxed, your mind is clear, and your entire being feels refreshed, lighter than air. The world outside may be rushing into its busy day, but within you, the tranquility of the pre-dawn Roman bathhouse lingers, a quiet, soothing echo. Let your thoughts drift now, gently, like the soft steam rising from unseen vents. Feel the lingering warmth on your skin, the subtle scent of ancient oils, the quiet hum of a world long past. Allow these sensations to softly envelop you, pulling you deeper into a state of profound rest. Your journey through the ancient Roman bathhouse is complete, and the tranquility it brought washes over you, guiding you towards a peaceful slumber. The gentle currents of history have soothed your mind, leaving you utterly calm, utterly at ease. There is nothing left to do now but to simply be. Sweet dreams.